council level have city income tax, other things. So there's different things that come into play there that might not hear. But it is basically a city going out there doing this stuff, trying to encourage sustainable businesses in their city. Other thing they did have out there that I thought was interesting when I was looking at Philadelphia is the green roofs tax credit. They'll give you basically a 25% credit for the cost to construct a green roof up to $100,000 there. So that's another interesting thing that's going on out there. I'm sure if you look in other areas, you're going to see lots of different things going on. Progressive areas are going to do more things related to sustainability and encouraging green building and things like that. Another area that's kind of popular in the press right now nationally, just things they're trying to do, basically looking at Detroit, they have areas of their city that have been basically abandoned, so they're trying to consolidate things, shift things around, and what they're doing is using incentives to encourage businesses to go to particular areas, different things. One of the ones they have is Renaissance Zones, which qualified businesses receive a waiver of state and local taxes for up to 15 years. If you have a decent-sized business going on, 15 years of at least no state or local taxes can be a pretty nice return for you there. Other things they're doing, other areas have done as well, is trying to encourage brownfield redevelopment and getting just areas that were dirty, polluted, whatever, cleaned up, and get new businesses in there that are doing something different than the businesses before them. Just want to touch on high level some of the things here. The topic in the press as of late has been tax incentives and attracting companies to different areas. One of the ones locally, a third bullet there, the Continental Tire in Brunswick County. Depends who you talk to, what you read out there, but at least one of the articles out there said that Continental Tire wanted $45 million for 1,300 jobs. And basically there's a competition between North Carolina and South Carolina. I think there was even another state in there as well. And there's some debate in these areas as to whether the jobs really come through or don't, or whether these investments are worth it. I'm certain Brunswick County could have used 1,300 new jobs if they really were there, but you have to look at the price tag as well. One example of that is just Apple and Maine, NC. They have like a $1 billion, I think it's a data center or something like that. Got all kinds of incentives to build there, probably partially because it's cool to have Apple's name and say, hey, Apple's coming to this, I don't know if Maine's a depleted North Carolina town, or I'm assuming it's probably was a textile type area, things like that. But to bring them in and say, hey, we're revitalizing ourselves. But in the end, what you look at when you talk to people there, no one knows anyone that works for Apple. The best estimates that you can read out there are that only 50 jobs were generated. So maybe there was construction and other things going on, but long term there aren't a lot of jobs there. Another recent one in the press, I think this one's been in the last month or two, is Chiquita Bananas in Charlotte. I believe they were out in Ohio, and they were basically shopping around state to state, or I don't know how many states they looked at, but saying basically what can you do to us, for us, in order for us to relocate to your state. Charlotte was in the running. They even did some other things with Twitter, other things, trying to get the attention of Chiquita. They basically are looking at $22 million in incentives, possibly could get up to $40 million, depending on, I think, number of jobs, other things, for a $14 million investment. So you can see from the company's perspective how that's attractive to them. Probably take time before Charlotte's able to figure out if this really helped them out, or how this all plays out. But states, cities, localities are really out there chasing companies, trying to attract jobs. My thoughts on this are just, big companies get the headlines, big companies grab the press. What my thoughts are, it's going to be the small businesses, the innovators, other things that are taking advantage of some of these smaller tax credits that are going to do more to generate jobs in an area. And that's just kind of my two cents on it. you know, and different people have different perspectives, and I'll kind of, one question I'd like to get, you know, people chime in on in the room is just, you know, what are your thoughts as far as tax incentives to encourage industries, encourage certain behavior within an area to help an area attract, you know, businesses, things like that. So I don't know, does anyone have any thoughts on that? Anything they want to jump in or chime in on?
What did South Carolina give up to get Boeing? I mean, that's a big thing, but it's also a lot of jobs because they set up 5,000 jobs and all the reciprocal companies.
Yeah, you kind of touched on that. When something like Boeing or like that, I don't know what they threw out there for that, but you bring up a good point. Is that big company came in there, and now there's all these other little companies, suppliers coming in too. So I think that's probably part of the equation when you're looking at, okay, am I bringing just this company in, or are there going to be supporting industry, supporting people, kind of like you get with the film industry type of things.
Just sitting here trying to, I mean, the amount of money is just staggering that, you know, they're offering the companies. And I guess one thing, Chiquita, they happen to be kind of fortuitous because they came after the Continental Tire debacle. So, I mean, I guess in some ways the state was just, they were going to get something, you know, and they were going to let another one get by. I mean, I don't know if that's fair to say.
I mean.
But, you know, our organization, we had John Norquist here earlier in the year, and I know Bill's been active, he continues to be active in trying to stimulate the arts community, and so our organization is all about quality of place, quality of life, and investing in the long-term, enduring assets, both cultural and ecological that we have, and the social quality of the area. And those are big investments, and they take a long time, and they're not targeted nearly as much as giving the incentives to Chiquita or Continental Tire. But is that a fair framing of the choice? We take our public treasury and we invest it in huge targeted attempts at trying to attract particular industry, or we go the other way and try to invest in something that's not nearly as flamboyant, but may have more enduring benefit. And it's not, it certainly doesn't publicize as well as $50 million or whatever that is. Anyway, I'm just kind of stumbling around, but I don't know what anybody else's thoughts are on that. It's a huge amount of money that if you then the opportunity cost of taking $50 million, $40 million, and investing it in an arts council and the health of that, and you know, form-based zoning codes, all those things, and of course the Sustainable Communities Grant may be helpful in that too. But you know, not a well-crafted question, but a question for
I think the bottom line is jobs. Hearing something, I mean, I think that is definitely what we need to invest in, but when it comes to actually offering or asking for incentives, they need to know that they're revenue neutral in offering them. And what's the most feedback we get from Raleigh when we're up there lobbying for film incentives is they just want to know that they're going to get 150 jobs out of each movie. With the difficulty with us is that we're not a corporation. We're several corporations, but they just want to know that we are providing those many jobs to those many people over this period of time. And that's why lately we've been successful. It's because we are doing that with each project that comes in. And then also is that they have to spend the money first in order to get the incentive back, which is different than, you know, Chiquita or some of the other companies. And that's
I think the number they said for Chiquita, Charlotte was in the newspaper last week I read it. They were projecting 450 jobs, but 300 of those jobs were going to come from Cincinnati. They thought over the long haul it might create 200 jobs where 200 people are hired locally.
And it's always interesting with these things when you know, depending on whether you talk to the company or people who are in the industry, how many jobs is truly going to bring, and you bring a good point, is Is it bringing people here? Is it developing jobs for people that are here? Or where is it?
Yeah, I realize they're coming here, they're buying homes here, they're spending money here, they're contributing. But when you look at the dollar signs, you know, you're pitting against like our industry, which we're going to fight for.
Right.
We certainly create many more jobs.
You guys have too. I think one thing that came up with the whole Project Soccer thing was transparency. And the way the companies tend to screw the states against each other with competition. And with the film incentives, it seems like it's trying to create a level playing field, because you guys have to compete with Savannah and Charleston for projects, and if everybody says, let's get 30% or 25%, then there's an equal playing field. But it's the companies and the way they use privacy and these kind of cloak and dagger, you know, pitting states against each other. That's when it seems like it gets nasty, and people say, like, why are we doing this?
It was like, for a while, it was, yeah, like you said, it was referred to as Project Soccer, and people knew things were going on, but no details, and just, you know.
Well, wasn't it Dell that actually had to pay back the money that they
in
received in incentives because they actually did not employ those people?
Yeah, and sometimes
they caught them on that, but.
Yeah, they'll structure clawbacks like that or other things as well.
But at least, I mean, with our industry, you have to go through that audit and you have to get those expenses, you know, qualified before you, and then the people have to live here and we have to get that payroll, you know, all that's gotta be before you give the money back, so.
But I think kind of what you guys are, you know, what you're doing in the film industry there is also going to help you, you know, down the road when the incentives need to be renewed, or if dollar limits are getting bumped up against, or if people try to, and you can kind of ongoing proactively have that dialogue of here's what we're doing with jobs, here's how we're helping the community,